So first of all, let's correct the homework. So we have the keyListener.hpp file where I'm going to change this just a little. I'm going to call this mod key and this the key code. Okay, just changing this to this and this to this because I prefer just that. Now we are going to write function that is in the keyListener.hpp file. Let's write, and it's pretty simple. Correction of the homework. We're gonna just return is key pressed mod key and is key down key code, and this should be enough to enable key bindings. So let's go to the window.c++. Let's do if key listener is key bind down left w left control and left w, let's choose a key. I'm going ahead with the hard key, and if the key binding is pressed, we're going to do a standard cout pressed control plus hard key bind. I also want to change the function name to the bind down. Okay, just changing the b to a upper b. Now we're gonna run the project, and if we press Ctrl hard, okay, press Ctrl hard key bind, nice, it's now working. Okay, this was the homework, so we don't need this anymore. And let's jump for the subject of the video of today, that is reading files with C++. So let's go ahead and let's create an assets folder. This folder will have all the stuff that is needed to the game itself, to the game engine. So like textures and shaders and all that kind of stuff. So let's create a file.txt just to say hello world. Hello world. Now let's go ahead to include directory. We're gonna create an utils.hpp file. Pragma ons, of course. That will be a namespace because all the functions are like will be like static functions, functions that we can access and everywhere. It's something like that. And let's create the function. First of all, include string using standard string, and now we're gonna write string readFile. So we return a string, and we need a file name to pass into the function, and that is it. Okay, let's create a utils.c++ file where we're gonna include the utils.hpp file. We're gonna put here the function, but not this function here. Okay, and now let's write function. So first of all, we are going to open the file if it exists. To make that, we are gonna call a standard ifstream file. We're gonna do file.open, and if file.fail, we're gonna throw an unwanted warning, error, couldn't open the file name, and we also need to include the ifstream We also need to include the ifstream and oh, of course we have to open the file. Yeah. So basically the file name that will be asset slash file.txt. That this is the string that we will have in here for this video. Okay, now that the file is open, let's read file the file, and before we read file we have to do another thing. So the file has failed to open, so let's return an empty string. Return empty string. Okay, and now let's read file. To read file, we're gonna need the sstream. So let's include the sstream. And now we're gonna do a standard string stream buffer. We're gonna do buffer file.read buff. We're gonna save the content in the string file content, and the file content will receive the buffer.str, and that's it. We close the file and we return the file content. Okay, let's go to the window.c++. Let's test this utils.hpp, utils.hpp. Wait. Okay, let's open the file in here. So we're gonna do utils readFile assets slash file.txt, and we're gonna put in here standard string file count. Receiving this, we need the string. I don't know if string is already in here. Let's try this out. Okay, we need string. I think it is not included already. So let's include string. And now if we run this, we should see hello world. Oh, but there is a problem. Oh, okay. The problem was that we haven't declared the namespace. So namespace utils, but in the utils.c++ file, sorry, I forgot to declare it. And now if we run program, everything should work as fine. And we're gonna see error couldn't open file assets file.txt. Why we couldn't access the file? Let's try a thing out. Our executable is inside this debug folder, and our assets folder is in here in the workspace project. So let's copy this assets folder, Ctrl C to debug, Ctrl V, and let's execute the program. Oh, now we could access the world. That makes sense because we are executing the program in this folder, so we can access just the assets folder if we are inside the folder itself. So we have to make some changes to the CMake lists so we can automatically put the assets folder into the build folder. Okay, let's go. So let's write instructions that will update the assets folder, that will copy the assets folder into the build directory. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's add custom target, copy assets. This is basically to create a command in CMake. So let's go ahead, CMake command and it will be to copy a directory, and it will be the CMake current source slash assets. So this folder in here, and the destination will be CMake binary dir slash assets. So we can put in the build directory. Now let's call the command. So we're gonna do head dependencies to our project name and the command copy assets. So now let's before we run, we are going to delete this assets folder, so we can ensure that this is being copied automatically to debug folder. So let's run, and the error couldn't open file asset slash file.txt. Why? Well, the assets folder was copied into the build directory and not into the debug directory. So, as a thing we can make is to tell the project to be compiled in only one folder. Why we want that? Okay, we could put here debug, and this would work now. Hello world. We have the assets inside debug folder, but if we choose the release option, that is better to launch an application, we're gonna run, and the project will be inside the release folder. And this is a problem because it can't access the assets folder in here. So what I'm going to do is to delete this terminal so I can delete the build directory, and we are going to tell CMake, hey, we want all in the same folder. To make that, we are going to write here some code that will be set targets properties, project name. Now we're going to write properties. One thing, in Linux, you should already, this should work because Linux doesn't create the debug and release folder. It only pops up the application in here, and that is it. So if you are using Linux, you don't need this. But if you also write this, it's gonna be it's going to put all in a folder if you want. So let's go ahead. Runtime output directory debug gonna be the CMake runtime output directory, and we're gonna do this for all of the options. That will be here it will be release, here will be the file that is released with dev info, sorry, and here will be the main size release. Okay, but we have to put another line in here, here in the top of the file. I'm gonna make set CMake runtime output directory CMake binary dir. So we are going to access the build directory slash project name. So we will be creating a folder inside the build directory that will have the project name on it, and basically is that. And we are configuring this variable. This variable is receiving this path in here, and now we are using this variable to override these variables in here. And we have an error in here. And if we run the project now, we see error couldn't open the file. Oh, that is because we are not copying now to the standard directory, and we want that. So let's copy this variable in here, CMake runtime output directory, put in here, and we can erase this, and let's delete this terminal, let's delete the build folder, and now let's run the project. And hello world, everything is working as expected. To move on to the graphics programming, we need to first fix some code, which is a topic that I will leave for the next episode. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.